I was halfway through folding the laundry when I realized Kate hadn't said a single word in over 15 minutes. We were just sitting there in the living room. No TV, no music, no background noise, except the occasional car passing outside. Her legs were curled under her on the couch, scrolling through her phone like I wasn't even there. My name is David. I should probably mention that now. I'm 35. I live in Hartford, Connecticut, and I've been married to Kate for 8 years. We'd just finished a late dinner. Nothing fancy, just pasta and a premixed salad. We used to talk during dinner. Now we just move through the motions, like two coworkers silently sharing a break room. I cleared my throat. Hey, what do you think about getting away this weekend? Just the two of us. Maybe rent a cabin or go back to Newport like we did a few summers ago. Kate looked up from her phone, blinking like she had to reset her brain to remember who I was. She didn't look annoyed, just blank. That might be nice, she said, but her voice didn't match the words. She hesitated, then added, Actually, I've been thinking maybe we should take some space. Not a trip, like space from each other. I froze, socks still in my hands. What do you mean, space? She leaned back into the couch cushion like she'd been saving this up. Just a week, apart. I want to test where we're at, emotionally. See if we miss each other, you know? It's not a bad thing. It's just clarity. Quick note. Before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. She wasn't angry, not emotional, just stating it like she was requesting a different brand of toothpaste. Calm, flat. I tried to laugh it off, but it came out wrong. You want to test our marriage, like an experiment? It's not like that, she said. I just need time to think. We're in a rut, and maybe a little space will help. I looked at her, really looked, and something was different. She wasn't fidgeting or avoiding eye contact. She was composed, like she'd rehearsed the whole thing in her head a dozen times. Her fingers stayed loosely wrapped around her phone. Screen off now, but she didn't put it down. I nodded slowly. Okay, if that's what you need. She gave a soft smile, the kind you'd give a stranger who held the elevator. Then she stood and stretched like it was bedtime. I watched her walk upstairs without another word. The next morning, she was already dressed when I came downstairs. She stood by the kitchen counter, sipping coffee from a travel mug and tapping something into her phone. Her overnight bag sat by the door. Small, no laptop, no files. Just a few outfits, a pair of sandals looped to the handle. I didn't say anything. Neither did she. She looked up when I walked in, offered a tight smile, then turned back to her phone. I poured myself a cup of coffee and leaned against the fridge, watching her like I was seeing a stranger use my kitchen. You heading out now? I asked, just to break the silence. Yeah, traffic will be bad if I wait too long, she said, slipping her phone into her purse. No kiss, no hug, no second glance at the house. I nodded, even though I didn't know what I was agreeing to. She grabbed the bag and opened the front door. I'll check in later, she said over her shoulder. Just take care of yourself, okay? Then she was gone. No drama, no tears, just the click of the door and the sound of her tires on the driveway. I didn't even walk out to wave her off. I just stood there in the kitchen, coffee cooling in my hand, staring at the spot where her bag had been. I spent the next few hours pretending to work, grading quizzes, replying to emails, adding half-baked notes to lesson plans. But I couldn't focus. My eyes kept drifting to my phone. I kept waiting for a message, an update, something. Nothing came. Her words from last night echoed in my head. I want to test where we're at, like we were just some project she could measure and analyze. It didn't sit right. She wasn't emotional about it, not even conflicted. It was clinical, like she'd already made peace with whatever answer came back. Around noon, I opened the pantry, saw the granola bars she liked, and shut the door again. I couldn't eat. Couldn't sit still either. I paced the living room, stopped by the laundry room, circled back to my desk, sat, stood, sat again. Nothing helped. Even the air in the house felt heavier, not quiet, empty. That night, I tried to sleep. I lay on my side of the bed, staring at the ceiling fan-spin shadows across the walls. Her side was untouched, pillows still fluffed, sheets smooth, like she'd never been there at all. I rolled over, shut my eyes, and tried to slow my breathing. Still nothing. Just that cold, pressing silence, wrapping around me like I'd already lost something I didn't fully understand yet. I was halfway through a lukewarm cup of coffee the next morning when my phone rang. Tim Dalton popped up on the screen. I hadn't talked to him in over a year. He was one of those college buddies you keep in the background, checking in every now and then when life slows down. "Tim," I answered. "Man, what's up?" "Hey, Dave," he said. "I'm in Hartford for a conference, staying downtown for a couple nights. Thought I'd give you a shout, maybe grab a beer later." "Yeah, man, I'm around," I said, rubbing the back of my neck. "Things are a little weird at home, but sure." "Weird? What's going on?" I hesitated. "Kate and I are taking a little space, her idea, just a week apart, nothing crazy." There was a pause on his end, not long, just enough to make me feel it. "Huh," he said. Well, I guess that makes sense." "What do you mean?" "Nothing, He let out a short breath. "I saw her last night, at Bar 35. You know that place on Main, near the hotel strip?" My grip on the phone tightened. "You sure it was her?" "Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything, but I figured you knew. She looked fine, happy even. I thought maybe the space thing was just a cover for a weekend retreat or whatever." I felt my throat close up. "She say anything to you?" "No, I didn't go over. She was across the bar laughing with someone. Didn't want to intrude." Another pause. "Sorry, man. If I'd known something was off, I wouldn't have brought it up." "Nah, it's fine," I said automatically, though nothing felt fine. We made plans to grab a drink the next day, but the second I hung up, I dropped my phone on the table and just sat there, staring at it. Kate had told me she needed time to think, to get clarity. And she was laughing at a wine bar? I opened our text thread from the night before. Her message had come in around 10. "Hope your day was okay. I'm thinking of you, just trying to clear my head." I stared at the words, then opened our banking app, joint account. 2 big transactions stood out. One from Bar 35 for over $100, time-stamped at 9:15. Another was a hotel charge from the place across the street. 300-something, same night. My stomach dropped. The last time we'd stayed there was our anniversary. I remember because she'd said the place was overpriced. Now she was back, just without me. I kept scrolling, another dinner charge from the night before that. Same price range, same area. Same story? I locked my phone and leaned back in the chair, hands over my face. She hadn't gone on some soul-searching retreat. She'd stayed local, close, familiar. She just didn't want me around. There was no emergency, no breakdown. She wanted to test the marriage by trying on a different life, and I let her. I sat there for a long time, phone still in my hand, letting it all sink in. I wasn't surprised anymore, just numb. At some point, I opened Instagram. Kate wasn't big on posting publicly, but she used stories to keep in touch with her little circle, mostly coworkers and college friends. I'd never thought much about it before, never felt the need to check. But now, I tapped her name. The first few slides were nothing. An artsy shot of her wine glass, a poolside lounge chair, a blurry sunset. Then the last one hit me. It was her, sitting beside some guy on a pool chair. His face was angled away, but he was close. Too close. Her legs were stretched toward his side, and she was laughing at something he'd just said, one hand brushing her hair back like she was relaxed, flirtatious, glowing. I stared at the image, barely blinking. She hadn't even tried to hide it. It wasn't public, sure, but she'd posted it, on purpose. Like it was just another Saturday afternoon, like I didn't exist. And the part that gutted me, she looked alive, genuinely happy. Not like someone struggling to figure things out. Not like someone doing deep emotional work, like someone already gone. I locked my phone and placed it screen down on the kitchen table. I didn't yell, didn't break anything. I just sat still, letting the silence wrap around me like a coat that didn't quite fit anymore. The worst part wasn't the cheating, if that's even what it was. The worst part was realizing she hadn't been in this with me for a long time. I'd been sharing a house with a ghost, doing all the work, holding on to this thing we built while she was already out the door. And I'd let her pretend like it was about space. I stood up, went to my desk, and opened the drawer where we kept our household documents. Joint account info, mortgage records, insurance papers. I pulled out a yellow legal pad and started making a list. What accounts were tied together, what we shared, what I'd need to separate. I wasn't angry, not really, just done. Done waiting for her to come back. Done assuming she was confused or hurting or trying to figure herself out. She knew what she was doing. This wasn't a crisis. It was a choice. By late afternoon, I had 3 pages of notes, Things in my name, hers, joint. Passwords I needed to change. Subscriptions to cancel. Every small thread that tied our lives together, I wrote down so I could start pulling them apart. I opened my laptop, looked up family law attorneys in Hartford, and bookmarked a few. One name stood out. Brad Lacey. We'd worked with him years ago on our first house. Straightforward, no BS. That was what I needed now. I didn't message him yet. I just saved the number and closed the laptop. I wasn't acting out of spite. I just saw the end now, and I didn't want to flinch from it. I picked up the phone and called Brad the next morning. It rang once before he answered. Brad Lacey. Hey, it's David Marr, I said. We worked together a while back. Bought that duplex off Maple Street? Yeah, of course. How have you been? Could be better, I said. I need help. Not real estate this time. Family law. There was a pause, then a shift in his voice. You looking at a divorce? Yeah, not official yet, but it's headed that way. I need to protect myself. Got it. You free to talk now? Yeah, hit me. Brad didn't waste time. That's why I liked him. He ran through everything. Joint accounts, property division, prenup status. Asked if there were any kids. There weren't. You guys still living under the same roof? He asked. Technically, she's away right now, but her stuff's still here. Okay. Then the first step is a separation agreement. Start drawing lines, assets, living arrangements, access to funds. He told me exactly what to document, what to lock down, what not to say if things got emotional. He wasn't cold about it, just efficient. You don't need to light anything on fire, he said. Just keep things clean, clear boundaries. You'll thank yourself later. I wrote it all down. When the call ended, I felt lighter. Not better, just clearer. I wasn't waiting anymore. I wasn't hoping for some epiphany or apology. I was taking control of what came next. I got up and started walking through the house. First the kitchen, dishes she always used, mugs from trips we took. I separated things into piles, hers, mine, toss it. Then the living room, old blankets she picked out, photo frames, that damn scented candle she kept relighting even when it gave me headaches. I boxed it all up, labeled everything, no bitterness, just sorting. Upstairs I opened the closet and stared at her half. Dresses, scarves, shoes she hadn't worn in years. I didn't touch anything yet, just took inventory. Figured I'd need a place to store it soon. In the nightstand drawer, I found a birthday card I'd given her last year. It was still in there, envelope open, barely creased. I remembered writing this long note about us trying harder, getting back to who we used to be. She hadn't even put it away with the others. I closed the drawer without reading it. This house used to feel full. Of us, our stuff, our habits. Now it felt like a garage sale I hadn't priced yet. I moved through it all like I was packing for someone else. And in a way, I was. I was taping up another box from the upstairs closet when my phone buzzed. Kate, I've been thinking about you. I hope this time apart is helping us both figure things out. I miss you. No punctuation at the end. Just that limp, open-ended tone. Like she wanted credit for checking in without having to say anything real. I stared at the screen for maybe 10 seconds, then locked it and tossed it on the dresser. I didn't reply, didn't even type anything out and delete it. There was nothing to say. I used to get pulled into messages like that, overthinking every word, trying to decode if it meant something or if she was just bored. Not anymore. The silence didn't bother me now. It felt earned. She wanted space. She got it. By early afternoon, I was making calls. Found a storage unit 15 minutes away. Month to month, easy access. I booked it for the next morning. Then I went back to packing. I took everything that was hers. The closet, the bathroom drawers, the coat rack in the entryway. That little basket in the kitchen full of junk she refused to throw out. All of it. I moved fast. No hesitation. I didn't stop to flip through old photos or reread cards. I wasn't on some nostalgia trip. This was cleanup. Nothing else. By the time the sun went down, half the living room was stacked with boxes labeled in Sharpie. Clothes, shoes, keepsakes, jewelry, toiletries, her life, sorted, sealed, and ready to go. I found the gift I gave her for our 5th anniversary, a frame map of where we met, where we married, where we honeymooned. She loved it when I gave it to her, said it was the most thoughtful thing anyone had ever done for her. It was shoved behind a pile of winter scarves in the closet, face down, with dust on the glass. I wrapped it in bubble wrap and dropped it in the misc box without blinking. This wasn't revenge. I wasn't planning some grand moment where she'd come home and find everything gone, begging for another chance. There wasn't going to be a scene. I didn't need one. I was giving her exactly what she asked for: space, a clean exit. No fights, no begging. Just the bare truth of what she chose. Later that night, I sat on the couch and looked around the room. It already felt different, lighter, like the place was finally honest with itself. The silence didn't hang anymore. It settled. I was sitting at the kitchen table with a mug of coffee when I heard her key in the lock. The door opened like she expected everything to be normal. She stepped in with sunglasses on her head and a canvas bag slung over her shoulder. Light makeup, soft smile, like she was walking back into a vacation home. "Hey," she called out, setting her keys on the hook. "I'm back." I didn't say anything. She walked into the kitchen and saw me sitting there. Her smile faltered for a split second, then came back like she was forcing it through muscle memory. "You shaved," she said, sliding her bag onto the counter. "Looks good." I didn't answer. She glanced around, saw the space behind me where the living room boxes were stacked, neatly labeled, waiting. Her eyebrows twitched. "I know this week was a lot," she started, voice soft. "But I think it really helped me. I had time to clear my head, figure some things out." I sat still, hands wrapped around the mug. My face didn't move. She kept going. "I've made mistakes. I know that. I was feeling stuck, and I didn't know how to say it. I'm not making excuses, I needed to step back." I opened the drawer next to me and pulled out an envelope. No dramatic pause, no speech. I just slid it across the table. She looked down at it. "What's this?" "Separation agreement," I said. "I've already started the process." She didn't move at first, just stared at it like it was something she didn't recognize. Then she opened it, read the first few lines, her eyes froze. "You already—" Her voice caught. "You talked to a lawyer?" "Yeah." She looked up at me, trying to read my face, trying to find a crack. "You did this without even talking to me?" I leaned back. "You left. That was your part. This is mine." "I thought we were just taking space," she said, her voice rising. "I never said I wanted to end things." "You didn't have to," I said flatly. "You made it clear." She shook her head, blinking hard. "I was confused, David. That's not the same thing." "No," I said, standing up. "You weren't confused. You were done. You just didn't have the guts to say it." "I wasn't—" I cut her off. "You can try to explain it however you want. Doesn't matter now. I'm not interested in reworking this." She opened her mouth again, but nothing came out. "I'm done," I said. "I'm not waiting around for you to figure out what you feel." We stood there in silence for a second. Her face changed. Shock, then confusion, then something like fear. She looked down at the papers again, like they might give her a way out. There wasn't one. She dropped the envelope onto the table like it burned her. "This isn't fair," she said. "You can't just make this decision without even talking to me first." "I'm not making a decision," I said. "I'm closing a door you already walked through." "I didn't walk through anything," she snapped. "I went away for a few days." "That doesn't mean I wanted a divorce." "You didn't pack your laptop. You booked a hotel. You posted pictures with some guy, Kate." Her face twisted. "You were checking up on me?" "No," I said. "I looked because I knew something was off. I needed to see it for myself." She took a step back, arms crossed. "You don't know what that was." "I don't care what it was." Her mouth opened, but she had no comeback. Just stood there breathing hard. "I didn't cheat on you," she said suddenly. I raised an eyebrow. "That's supposed to make me feel better?" "I didn't," she repeated, louder now. "We talked, we had drinks, that's it. I needed someone to talk to." "You had me." "No," she said. "I didn't. Not really. You stopped showing up a long time ago." That made me laugh, dry and humorless. "You disappeared in plain sight, Kate. I spent years trying to pull you back in." She dropped her arms, the fight draining out of her. "So, that's it? You're just done?" "Yeah," I said. "I'm done." Tears welled up, but she didn't cry. She just stood there blinking like she couldn't process it. "I thought we had a chance," she whispered. "We did. You used it." Silence settled in again. She glanced at the stairs. "So, what now? Where am I supposed to go?" I reached into the drawer behind me and pulled out a folded piece of paper. "You can stay at Rachel's. I talked to her. She's expecting you." Her jaw dropped slightly. "You called Rachel?" "She offered weeks ago, back when you started drifting. I told her no. Now I'm saying yes." Kate didn't move, just stared at the paper like it meant something more than it did. "This is really happening," she said quietly. "It already happened," I replied. She stood there another minute, waiting for something. A fight, a breakdown, a hug. I gave her none of it. Eventually she turned and walked upstairs. I heard drawers open, hangers sliding. She packed fast. She always did. I stayed in the kitchen, sipping what was left of my cold coffee. No pacing, no nerves. After a while she came down carrying a duffel, her purse slung over her shoulder. She glanced around like she was seeing the house for the first time. "You're not even going to say goodbye?" she asked. I looked up at her. "We said goodbye a long time ago." She waited another second, maybe for guilt, maybe for me to flinch. I didn't. Then she left. Quiet. No slammed door, no tears. Just the final click of the latch behind her. I didn't watch her walk to the car. I didn't watch her drive away. I just sat there, steady, feeling absolutely nothing. Who I used to be. That guy was gone. The house stayed quiet after she left. No footsteps upstairs, no perfume hanging in the bathroom, no half-finished tea mugs left on the counter. 3 days later, I filed the divorce paperwork. It didn't feel like a milestone, just another item on the list, like taking out the trash or canceling a subscription. Kate texted once that week. "I still love you. I'm sorry. I think we can fix this if we try." I didn't respond. Then came an email, long paragraphs about growth, regret, timing, all that noise. I archived it without reading past the first line. It wasn't personal anymore. It wasn't even emotional. It was maintenance, closing tabs. That Friday, I called a locksmith. Not because I thought she'd try to come back, but because I didn't want any part of this house to assume she might. New keys, clean break. That night, I met Kelly at Brick and Beam, this low-key bar we both used to hit back when the whole crew still hung out after work. She and I had always stayed friendly, never too close, but steady. She hugged me when I walked in, didn't ask any heavy questions, just handed me a beer and started talking about her nephew wrecking his dad's lawnmower. I laughed harder than I had in weeks. It felt easy, simple, nothing to manage. We stayed until close, talking about movies, food, dumb TV, things that didn't come with weight. There was no performance, no wondering what she really meant, just two people who knew how to be present. When I got home, the air felt lighter. Like the space was mine again. At the end of that week, I stood in the living room with no boxes, no clutter, no tension, just stillness. The past was packed up and gone, and I wasn't chasing it anymore.